Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Synagogue Tech Forum, the next year version. We're here to help you deliver you a better online experience for both services and education in the Jewish space online. And I just got to mute myself out on my other side. Isn't it great? Today we have Cantor Norman Cohen-Fowler, the cantor at Temple Sinai of North Dade in Miami. He's built out the streaming system at Temple Sinai and will walk us through why he made the choices he did. Will be followed by any questions for Norman, as well as any questions from the audience that you have on subjects relating to live streaming, Zoom, or delivering connections online. This is our first session for a while, and I'll ask our panel to briefly introduce themselves. First off, my two co-hosts, David.
Sorry, I didn't know you were throwing to me that quickly. Hi, everybody.
Sorry, I'm going to throw to you, David, and then I'm going to throw to Rotem.
Hey, everybody. My name is David. I'm your Torah tech guy, and I'm so excited. I think it's so cool. We've got the UK, we've got America, and we've got Israel all featured here, along with lots of other people from all over the place. So hello, everybody.
My other co-host is Rotem.
Yo, what is happening? I'm Rotem from Israel, doing live streams here in Israel, and happy to be here and maybe answer some questions.
Joining us also on the panel, a long-time answer of many questions in this and other services is Marty.
Hello, Leo. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here on the inaugural show, version 2. Everybody's here.
We're 2.0 now. We're 2.0, so we're moving forward. So it does feel a bit strange, doesn't it? We're back on doing something. For us, some of us do this all the time, but it's also a bit strange to be feeling you've just got to get back in the swing. Joining us for the first time on this panel, but a long time member of the Hybrid Ministries Tech Forum, we have Michael.
Thanks, Leo. I didn't know that this was the first show of this 2.0, so I appreciate you having me. I'm here in the Pacific Northwest in the United States, and it's cold and rainy right now, just like my thing. But I'm glad to be here, and I've known some of you from different places, and it's just a fantastic community to know. So hope I can answer some questions, but we'll see.
Thank you, Michael. Also joining us is from the other side of America. So literally we go from one coast to another, I think. No, actually we're on the same coast. Sorry, Michael, you're northwest, and so is John Ettleson, but he's more west.
So this is John Ettleson from Monterey, California, a little further down the coast, and we actually have sun. We'd love to have some of your rain here. We need it in California. I'm very excited to be here. I just got off our California Great Shakeout earthquake drill. So ask me what's shaking. It was all of California virtually an hour ago.
And then closer to home for me, first off, we have John Fiber.
Hey, how's it going? I'm John, and I'm based in North London, and it's very cold, but the moon looks super clear tonight. It's really cool. So hopefully we'll have a good chat tonight.
And finally, joining us also from not too far away is, for me, although she comes from a lot further away normally, Rabbi Leah Mushting.
Hi, lovely to be with you. I'm sorry, I'm kind of trying to double task. So if I'm not always staring at you, then that's because I'm also meant to be on a budget and finance committee meeting. But this is the fantastic thing about technology. You can do two things at once and hopefully pay attention. I'm a congregational rabbi. I'm Leo and John's rabbi, actually. Just with the 1.0 entered the streaming world. So glad to be in the 2.0 world.
I know we're in 2.0. It's like everything. It's super fast now, isn't it? So
I love that the budget and finance meeting is taking second fiddle to us. I'm sorry. I love that.
So you, the audience, when you're watching, wherever you're watching this, please ask your questions Really easy to do. Put your questions in if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Put your questions in where you're watching, and they'll come through to us, and we will see them here. If you're watching in Zoom, just use the Q&A, and you can ask your questions there. So, time to get on with the show, and we're over to Norman, Cantor Norman, to explain everything about the Temple Sinai.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you to Rabbi David, who is my colleague. We are really, 200 yards away, our offices, and yet it's really good to be here showing you what we have done so far. This was a learning process here at Temple Sinai to make sure that we can stream services to reach people all over the world. So let me actually go to where we are. This is our sanctuary. Actually, this is, sorry, not this one. This one, yes. This is the main sanctuary. This is where we are here with the Rabbi Litwak streaming services. And what I wanted to show you is what we did to build the streaming system in the synagogue. First of all, we have 3 cameras that we use on every Shabbat. And let me show you, this is the view, like here it is. So here are the 3 cameras that are pointed at us here on the bima. And unlike other synagogues that have a lot of budget for people behind the scenes programming or operating the video system, we don't have that opportunity. We try to do everything ourselves. That was the principle, the main idea when we built the system, to have a system that allows me and Rabbi Litwak to control everything from our pulpits. And so far we have succeeded. We have some glitches here and there, and we have done things to up the game. And at the moment, we are in a position to do everything without a video or a sound operator from behind the scenes. So let me show you how we did that. First of all, if I show you quickly, so where I was here in my lectern, okay. So you see the 2 monitors here that we have. These are confident monitors because we needed to know what the stream is about, what was going on, what was the output, what was the preview. So let me actually go here and do that. So this is how it looks. One of the lectern. This is Rabbi's lectern. He is the one who operates the iPad. I will show you in a moment a bit about that. And we have 2 confident monitors. In one, which is this one, is where we have a multi-view in which we have here the output, which is what you're seeing. This is the preview, which was, I can change the cameras and everything that we want to put it here. On the bottom left corner, we have something I created, which is like a slide deck with all the liturgy that includes Hebrew translation and transliteration with some cues for us to know when we announce pages and the title of the prayer, so that we can cue people, especially now that we're having a hybrid mode in which we have people holding prayer books on site, but yet from day one, we wanted to provide liturgy to everyone at home, and not using like a PDF version that you download. We wanted to provide the liturgy for each prayer. So, and we have succeeded in that, I think, quite well. And here is the center lectern, where usually Rabbi speaks, gives the sermon, and this is my lectern. Same as the Rabbi, I have 2 monitors, and I will explain the other second monitor. So the reason why we have still the cables here, wires all over the place, which we want to get rid of as soon as possible, is only because we didn't know what we needed. We needed like a year of training and see, and now the next project is to conceal all these cables. Now that we know what type of connectors we want under the stage, um, exactly how many video outputs we need, now is the time that we want to go to the next step and put everything under the BIMA. So that's the idea. Now, on the second monitor here, I put the output, because I needed to see what you're seeing. But if you see here in on the corner, actually this is the monitor that we use to display the liturgy for ourselves. So we have big screens. It's like a 15-inch screen that we put the liturgy that also we need to see out, because this is we tried here to use the one in the multi-view. It's a bit small. So that's so far. Now, why the rabbi is using the iPad and not me is basically because I usually play guitar during services. I have my hands tied, so I train Rabbi Litvak to do that. And I will show you here with a clicker, with this clicker, I will, let me see if I can do that. I can do that now, because probably I need to check something in the back, but I can change with the clicker and advance this Google slide that we create, so that the liturgy goes moves forward as we sing. This is so far what we have here, and what we have created. A lot of cables at the moment goes here, which is the only spot where we have all the videos and Cat5, so Cat6, cables and everything. So that's so far what we do. And I don't know if you have so far any questions, or want me to show what is behind the scenes. This is the main.
Well, Cantor, before you go on, could you because the way you set up the slides is actually really interesting, right? Because you've got the prompts on the top for you and the rabbi, and then you've got the liturgy at the bottom. Can you show us what that looks like in the stream?
Yes. Okay. Let me just go quickly to the back so that I can move the something. Okay. Let me just quickly do this. Actually, let me do this and go back here. 1 second.
While he's going to the back, Marty asked if there's no tech desk, how are the sound system and stream audio feed controlled, and where are the pulpit and lectern computers located? So I'll show, Cantor Norm will show you in a moment where all that, there's a Behringer X32 and a computer in the back room, but there really is no, other than the iPad to switch cameras, there's really no controlling happening during the service. Sorry, Cantor, go for it.
Yeah, okay, good. So just let me show you quickly what we have, okay? So, here now I made possible now to advance. I can now advance with my clicker. So usually we have two types of slides. A full slide when we want to have like an opening slide or closing slide, or for Kaddish, Kaddish list, we usually have like a full slide. And if you see, also for some Zemirot, we use that. But if you see, I go to Lejun de la Nena, for example, as I explained, you see that there is a box with the liturgy and like the lower third, and above that are all our cues, either to cue pages and everything. Now, if I go back to this, let's say I'm praying with Rabbi, and so what is going to happen is we are going to add like a cropped overlay of that liturgy. Oh, sorry, not that one. I didn't mean that. Sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, let me go back to this. Sorry, that's not what I want. What I want to do is this. Sorry. Thank you. So now we see only the cropped part of the liturgy that allows people to see the liturgy while seeing the full picture. This is not a picture-in-picture. This is just a cropped image of the lower third that we put. It's actually full slide cropped, creating the illusion that it's a lower third, but it's actually a cropped image of the full slide so that people see the liturgy, but we see the whole full slide with the cues for us. So we can, when we can, we can advance as we pray. Okay, so okay, Kihel Gadol Adonai, and then suddenly there is a menu that we will see. Maybe it's Mehua Shamayim, and so whenever the rabbi reads, he wants to say something, we can remove it. So that's how it goes. And again,
Cantor,
yes,
I don't know how you knew this because you can't see the chat, but James Mathiasen asked if you could sing that prayer, and then you just started to sing it. That was kind of amazing. That was prophetic.
yeah.
You want to take us into the back to show us the brain of this?
Sure. Let me go back 1 second.
Oh, not that version. James wanted a different tune. Is that the one? James, help us out. Is that the right tune?
It's C.Kin. Okay, so let me go now. I'm going to go to 1 second. Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is the computer. Okay, that we have. We have a good computer. It's really an i7, 32 gigabytes. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay, which is dedicated exclusively to streaming. And here is what I feel is was our solution. We wanted something to be controlled remotely, so we could use the iPad, which actually I didn't show you perfectly, but the iPad that I used, we changed the camera scenes, a preset camera shots, and we can add or remove this cropped lower third. So wherever we can do in the vMix, we can do it with the iPad remotely from the lectern. That's why for us was the only solution to avoid having a permanent person here, that it would imply a monthly cost, which so far we have avoided. So and you can see here in the vMix, this is I find it a wonderful program full of features that you could see. We have again in this on the far in the top right corner is the what we call this is the output, and on the left is the preview, which again we can change. And this is the slide, the Google slide that I and then there are other things that sometimes we do. For example, if I go to this image, if I go there, the rabbi could be seen with a slide on the side. So I created all of this so that we have flexibility in what we want to show. Okay, usually for something like this, rabbi will have a full slide or something, which I don't know if I have now. So that's how it is. We can control here all the different inputs for the audio. Here are the previews of the different shots. I created here in this area. You can customize what you want to see. For example, here I put all the opening slide elements. When we start the service, I created something like this that have maybe the opening image with the title and the date, and a countdown that when you put it in the output, it starts going down, and you hear the music, so that people have some music in the background while they are waiting to get into the service. So that's more or less things that I did. And again, this was a learning process.
So, Cantor, I know that you are limited on time, and there's quite a few questions that come in, so we want to try and get some of those questions to you. Is there other things that you want to show us, or do you want to take a few questions?
Let me show you how it looks, the iPad.
Okay.
iPad, I have just all the scenes all the, all of these numbers are preset windows. The one that you saw in the main computer, you see it here, and you have 3 rows. The bottom row is the preview. The middle row is the, for example, I'm here. This is 16. 16 is something I just added today, which is my own phone, which is connected through NDI. And on the top row is the overlay. So, for example, if I want to put here something, okay, I can remove it easily, and it will show on the output. And then you have, of course, shortcuts. But this is all we need is just to know which button to play and to press, and then we change cameras and we do that. And then actually Rabbi is doing a great job. And so that's so far what I can show you. If there are questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, Marty, have you got some questions for the Cantor?
I do. A question from this guy named Leo somewhere. You have 3 cameras on poles in the back of the room. Do you get any shake or vibration when people are in the synagogue or coming through the doors?
The answer is yes and no. We get vibration, but not from the reasons that you mentioned. The only problem that we have, and let me show you quickly, is this. But again, this is only a matter of, let me see if I can go. So the problem is this is attached to a soffit, and on the soffit you see the AC ducts. And the problem is when the AC is working, sometimes we get some vibration, specifically when we have the camera on zoom. These are 4K cameras, Bird Dog brand, 4K, 30x. So they can zoom in very well. You can see the arc behind us very well. The problem is, again, if you zoom in a lot and the AC is working, you may see a bit of vibration like this, but it's okay. We can live with that, but not.
So the AC is working right now?
I don't know. I guess. Can you see any shaking? I don't think that's stable enough. It's only when you zoom in the camera a lot and occasionally, you get that shaking movement. So, but it's been okay. I mean, it's bearable. It's not terrible. So.
All right. We have a question from Rabbi Leah Milstein. Why did you decide to keep the liturgy on Google Slides rather than having them directly in vMix via PowerPoint?
Via what? What?
Via PowerPoint.
Huh.
Or just directly in vMix.
Well, it is in vMix too. The liturgy on Google Slide is one of the inputs in vMix. So you have to consider a Google Slide as equally as a PowerPoint. They serve the same purpose. The main reason why I did not use PowerPoint and yes, Google Slide, only because the experience that I have, it behaves better with Hebrew fonts. Sometimes PowerPoint changes arbitrarily the Hebrew font, and it makes the whole layout go crazy. And it's been very stable with Google Slide. I have no issue, and it's on the web. We share all our synagogue is on Gmail. We have all Google Drive, so it was easy for us to do that through Google Slide. That will be the answer, but it's the same as having PowerPoint. I only find Google Slide better for this.
Can I just ask on that point if Leah is still here? Yeah, she is. If she can explain why because she's taken a different approach to it.
So I think one of the reasons why I was asking is that if you use the inbuilt PowerPoint feature, then you can advance the slides also with the same vMix controller rather than having to have a separate clicker for the slides. But you might have chosen that anyway, just because you prefer that. I don't know if that was one of your reasons.
Rabbi prefers that. He is like on one hand, he's actually lefty. So with the left hand, he uses the clicker, and with the right hand, he changes the preset. So I think it's, the way also the brain works, it probably is better, to say, okay, let's advance here, but don't mess it up with cameras. I wish I could have a clicker. I couldn't find, if you tech guys, a clicker that has more features that maybe I could use a shortcut to remove and put it on the lower third so that everything is here will be great. But only I found that there is only a third button I could use. The fourth button, I cannot. If you find a clicker for present that has more opportunities for shortcuts, will be great. That will be a question for you.
Does the rabbi normally...
Sorry. No, I was going to say we're using a Stream Deck. So, but if you want a clicker, then that doesn't. I mean, the reason why I like the Stream Deck is that it can do several things at once. So,
right. We have a Stream Deck. The only problem again is once we manage to put all the inputs here, we will be able to do that, with a physical Stream Deck. Again, we are controlling this remotely. And Stream Deck, doesn't allow us. I need to run a cable from the back to here, which is another cable which I wanted to avoid. Eventually, when we have all the boxes on the floor with all the connectors, that is the next project, then we will consider probably using a Stream Deck instead of an iPad that maybe controls everything. But again, it's only a matter of, I guess, taste and maybe be accustomed to something.
Marty, have we got another question?
I don't have any other viewer questions, but I do have a question. Cantor, as you're operating all of this, these screens and controlling vMix and all the tech that you have in front of you, do you find that you are still able to be connected with and stay in the spirit of worship, or does the tech distract you?
Okay, this is a good question that we actually with Rabbi Litvak and definitely Rabbi David, we talked about for high holidays. I would say for Shabbat, after more than a year that we've been using this system, there are things that now, believe it or not, become second nature. It's not that difficult to do what we are doing, because we are not crazy with the production. It's basically something that we have done for so long that I think is now relatively easy, especially with technologies on our side. If there is an issue, that's a different story. Now, for high holidays, especially as the liturgy is different, and we were, it's a different level of depth and everything. We thought about what to do. Initially, we thought let's do it ourselves because explaining everything to someone else was going to be complicated. But we were fortunate enough to have Rabbi David on our team, who is technically very savvy and who helped both Rabbi and I with this major task. And he was the one behind the scenes advancing so that we could actually connect to prayer. I would say yes, there is a level of a challenge when we are with technology in front of you to connect and to have real kavanah. But I would say for Shabbat, I feel confident that this is not on our way. But for high holidays, thank God we had Rabbi David who helped us not clicking or pressing buttons, and we were actually focusing on praying, which is, of course, our main job.
David.
Yeah, I just want to also mention that you may have seen in the sanctuary the two big black screens. Those were just put in, and because of those screens, we were able to actually bring have people participate in different ways. So, for example, this is a video. So this is actually part of this. This is the stream from our sanctuary here, but we were able to play videos and bring people in who were not normally with us. We also, so some of it was pre-recorded, and some of it, like for example, when we got to the Aliyot, we were able to have people call in and using vMix. Is it vMix Call? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
And yeah, and actually have Aliyot from a distance, which was really very beautiful. And the last thing I just want to say is I just want to give props to Cantor Norman. I mean, I don't think that he's probably always been somewhat technically minded, but this task that he took on, he literally did this by himself. And the amount that he's learned is it's mind-boggling. Hearing him talk about this now, about confidence monitors and the multi-view, and it's just he's probably representative of many clergy folks who have done this, should feel so good about what they've accomplished, even if it isn't where they want to be. It is so good.
Thank you.
And there was just a couple of other comments on exactly the same. Christo Cheney has said, "Thank you so much for showing this to us." He also loves the door on the Great Ark, and the countdown timer is a very good idea. So you have quite a few fans.
But you know what? What if I remember correctly, Cantor Norman? The countdown clock was kind of a question, because that meant you actually had to start when the countdown clock stopped.
I remember that. That was actually a request from a congregant. Probably not the countdown, but they wanted to know that they could log in at some point. Actually, let me go to a different image here. Okay, so that you can see a bit of the ark. Okay, so I opened the doors. Sorry, that was too far away. I'm so sorry. So one of the questions from the congregants was, wait a minute, at the first, there was like 5 minutes to the kickoff, and they didn't know if we were on, if they were in the right place. So it was a suggestion for someone, please add something so that we know that we are in the right place. Maybe put something that the service will begin shortly. And eventually I created this system of countdown with some music in it and some triggers that automatically triggers the streaming, so that now once I press that button, I put the slide on the output, everything starts, and actually gives me 15 minutes, clear 15 minutes to just finishing everything that maybe needs to be done. But yes, that was actually something that eventually makes us really be on time. There is no way we can. We are now like a Yeke congregation. No way we can be late.
So we've got another question. Rabbi Leah's got a question, but before they do, I just have to comment on your ark is enormous in comparison to most of the ones I see in the UK. I think there's synagogues I've been in the UK which is smaller than that. So it is.
It's a walk-in ark. It really is kind of amazing, actually. And
it is. Rabbi Leah.
Yeah, I was also gonna ask actually about the countdown clock, because what we found, so we don't have a countdown clock, but we do try to start on time. But one of the challenges we found when we started to go multi-access for real again, so not just a few people in the sanctuary, but actually a full sanctuary, and maybe also a congregation for like a bar mitzvah or something who didn't really know us. We're really struggling to get people seated. So if you have any tips to get like the people to know that we're going to really start on time.
You have to know Rabbi Lidwak. He will make sure that we start on time. There's no way, okay? He would say to people, service starts in 30 seconds, so you better sit. So that's it. And there is no question. They have to find a seat and start. I would say even if we go, once the countdown goes to 0 and reaches 0, usually we transition to the opening slide of the Google slide. So it's not the camera. So we can still have some chances, to get adjusted if we are not fully ready. So that's how we manage. We don't go straight to a camera, just in case. But then usually what we do is at the moment we reach 0, we start playing. We again by playing and start with the Nigun, even without the camera, only with the opening slide. People know that they have to sit, and by the time they are seated, we move on to a camera shot, and then this way we start. That's how
it's a fascinating problem that we've suddenly. I mean, I run streaming in the Jewish environment for a very long time, and nothing has ever started on time. And now we're getting to the point that people in the room is making it even worse. There's something I love the fact that we're having to solve a problem that basically is a genetic problem that we have.
Online Jewish mean time.
Yeah, and now we've got to solve this because the people at home are just going, what do you mean? Come on, start. It started. It should have started. Why hasn't it started?
Can I give a small advice? Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that everybody have screens on the synagogues. Put on the screens, the same clock with red writing, the stream start and pointing down. And maybe people will understand that, okay, we need to start on time.
You haven't met the other rabbi at my synagogue, who will probably be somewhere under the bimmer.
He'll be somewhere schmoozing somewhere else, and that's it. So, Cantor, I'm just conscious of time, and you've given us an amazing amount of time and energy into what you've shown us today. Has anybody got any last minute questions before we move on to the general questions? Is there anything that we haven't covered from the panel? Okay, I'd just like to thank you again for the time, for the effort you're putting in, and how brilliant it looks. It's just exceptional. Really good to see, and a great direction of movement. Just remind me for my sake, Cantor or Rabbi Paskin, what denomination is the synagogue?
So this is a Reform synagogue. We are in North Miami Beach, and you can, if people want to watch it live, they can go to tsnd.tv to see our services. T as in tango, S as in sugar, N as in the north, and D as in delta.tv. We have our services every Shabbat, 6:15 Eastern Time, and on Friday, and 10:30 on Saturday mornings. And maybe you can see live.
By the way, I just want to say that was one of the smartest decisions that I think the rabbi and the cantor made, is instead of having to send YouTube links out or Facebook links out, we just bought TSND, which is our website. Our website is tsnd.org. We bought tsnd.tv, and then we pinned at the top of our YouTube page the upcoming live feed. So you just tell people, go to tsnd.tv, and they're there.
Brilliant. Okay. Moving on to some general questions. Marty, general questions. What do we have today?
All righty then. So we have from Rona Shapiro, says she's wondering what good solutions folks have found for hybrid teaching. They've rigged up a laptop, a TV, a webcam, a conference microphone. And the problems are that the camera image only captures the long view, and she can't see the control zoom functions, can't control the zoom functions when she's not sitting at the computer. And although she has a Zoom host, it's still a bit tricky. So we get an echo unless everybody is muted at all times except when they're speaking. So thoughts on better and affordable systems?
David and then Leah. You're on mute, David.
I know. Sorry. There were actually a lot of questions in there. The first thing that I would suggest is the OWL camera. If you're doing it, if you're teaching maybe in the round or around a table, this is a nice sort of all-in-one solution. You plug it in USB to your computer, and it is the camera, it's the microphones, it's everything. You're not going to get the greatest quality, but it's a nice, simple solution. I would then, from your computer, either connect your computer to a TV on a maybe a rolling stand, or just sit it at the table like a participant, and that's where you can put up the Zoom participants. Another option, and this is connected to your question about being able to control the computer. So what I suggest actually is that you, as the teacher, have a computer, and if you're using the OWL camera, that you connect the OWL camera to that computer. And then for the TV, you log in from a second device. Maybe it's the Facebook portal TV, and you just turn the audio off there. Or you turn your computer on. One of the two needs to be off. But what that means is that what you're sharing to your on-site folks from the TV is independent from what you are using at your computer, and you can have a little more control over the meeting as a whole.
Leah.
I was also going to say the OWL. I just maybe the only thing to add, I believe the OWL Pro, which is slightly more expensive, allows you to rig up multiple OWLs together if you are in a bit of a bigger setting.
So it's actually, you can actually do that with the regular OWL camera. It basically daisy chains them together. It's a neat little system, actually. So if you're in a longer room, you can put two there, and they will work together. So they'll only create a singular image. And yeah, it's nice. That the biggest problem with the OWL camera, from my perspective, other than video quality, is that unless you know how to project your voice, it's very hard to get picked up by it's not as sensitive as I'd like it to be.
Marty, followed by John Ittleson.
All right, so there are a couple of challenges here, and one is the perspective and the view of both the teacher to the screens and the screens to the teacher, and the camera to the teacher. So one natural first instinct is to put the screen and camera on the wall behind where the teacher is. Well, when you think about it, what is that camera going to be looking at? They're going to be looking at the back of the teachers' heads and the faces of the students, and that's not, and who is behind that camera? Another student. So the camera really needs to be behind the students in the back of the room, looking at the teacher, looking at the instructor. And the instructor needs to be able to see the students, so the television set, the monitor, would also go with that camera. So now there will be times if the instructor uses visual aids and wants to show something to the students in the room, then you need an additional monitor on the wall behind them, so that now the students can see the visual aids, and the home students can see the classroom and the teacher. Now there's audio. So audio in a typical classroom, especially in houses of worship, they are usually built out of very hard materials, concrete block, tile, sometimes drywall, but there's very few soft surfaces, and this makes for a very difficult acoustic environment that microphones will just pick up all kinds of roomy sounds that really diminishes the intelligibility of the voice. So there are microphones that have been developed specifically for this problem. You might find a microphone bar, sound bar with microphones in it that are designed to be placed on a wall that will actually focus the microphone's pickup pattern in the direction that it senses sound coming from. And the Facebook Portal TV, and I just noticed the Facebook Portal TV is a device that looks like a webcam that you can put on top of a TV screen, and it has a camera in it, and it has microphones. So the camera tracks movement. So it will, as the teacher walks around, it will track the teacher, and it will also focus on their voice. Now, I noticed that Facebook just came out with a new line of Facebook portals. So will be interesting to look into.
And John, and then we'll move on to the next question.
I think the OWL is a very good choice. There's more cameras coming out now that do auto tracking, and there's a camera that goes by the name Panavision that most recently that company got acquired by Jabber, who are Bluetooth headphones. And that camera gives a 180-degree view, but it actually has multiple cameras and electronically can focus on them, and they've added a picture-in-picture. So, and I think its video quality is a little bit better than the OWL. This was really just released, and I agree with the idea of having a camera like that. Even with 180 degree, you still are going to get the back of somebody. So having a second system like the web portal, or now you can do that with the Apple Fire TV. It can also be used as a Zoom appliance. But check out the Panicast.
Thank you. Marty, next question.
All right, let's look for another question here. So David Paskin writes, so he woke up this morning and to his pastor asking about yesterday's streams. They were missing from their Facebook page. They were all missing from the Facebook page as they look. They're all gone off the Facebook page, and last night everything was fine, appeared to be there. Today, everyone of them is gone. Anyone have any suggestions on what happened? He checked the Vimeo site, and everything is fine there. So what would cause the Facebook videos to disappear?
David first.
Yeah, that's the essence of the question. It's actually not for me, but I have had experience. By the way, this Panicast looks really cool. I'm just looking it up now. Sorry. But I have had experiences, and I know people who've had experiences where, for whatever reason, a post, a video will just seem to disappear. Is there a rhyme or reason to that?
So there's a lot of things which are happening, and particularly with anything which is a religious content. We see them appearing and disappearing as they get marked and flagged, which typically, in both cases of Facebook and YouTube, they're now getting faster at dealing with these things. I've seen if you raise, in fact, I was really surprised with YouTube. Now I can actually raise and talk to a person, and they will actually deal with it. So their support mechanism now actually has a human being at the end of it. And on Facebook, there is a Facebook group for Facebook for Faiths, I think it's called, off the top of my head. And they actually it's a group where it's designed to deal with any issues for faith organizations. I'm a member of it. I think Marty is a member as well, and they're pretty responsive, actually, the Facebook team that are in there, in dealing with any problems that you have and resolving it. Although they won't give you 1080p streaming, because I've asked them about 100 times and they're fed up me asking. Next
Leo,
question, Marty.
Leo,
sorry,
real quick, is this? I'm now you have me curious. Is there something specific about faith posts, faith communities that in
it's
Facebook's
something
algorithm?
to do with I find it's to do with reporting on some of these things. People will report things and flag, and that can cause things to be blocked. I've come across this. Leah, have you got some comments? And I wonder if Rotem has got any comments from the YouTube side.
I was going to say, sometimes the Facebook, every one of these platforms seems to have a different algorithm of checking copyright of music or images also. And at least with YouTube, you see really clearly what's happened, and it just flags it for you. With Facebook, it just seems to disappear sometimes. And it's a big, in all the forums, you see it quite regularly where people go like, but my video, and I have a license, and I display my license slide, and still the entire video has suddenly disappeared. Like Leo said, oftentimes they come back after a while, because then after it's sort of got automatically taken out, they bring you back. But it's a bit of a challenge, I find.
On Rotem, did you have any comments to say on the YouTube side of this? I know you've got a lot of expertise on there.
So Leah just said it all probably, but the problem is not with YouTube, right, David? It's only in Facebook. Or you had the problem also in YouTube?
I think primarily, I think it happens on Facebook.
Yeah, so Facebook.
Yeah, I think on. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, the one I've seen on YouTube is that you'll suddenly find that your channel's been taken down, and when you go and report it, and so I believe something similar happened to one of the very large synagogues in America on Yom Kippur. I think it was. They had their whole platform taken out because of a report, and then they got it back really quickly. But it was they lost. I think it was Yom Kippur morning or something. They lost from one of their platforms. So because people report things, but as Leah said, it's also sometimes to do with the copyright. Okay, Marty, next question.
Yeah, just a last point on that. Facebook. We all reading that Facebook is under tremendous pressure to kind of monitor their content to some degree, and there may be just some reflexive action to be overly aggressive on it. So you just have to follow up with them. Okay, next question. So it's not a question, but Emily Cohen is looking for some recommendations. Anyone use live Zoom captioning for services or classes that involve Hebrew words? Any recommendations to share?
I laugh and smile at all the people who speak Hebrew on this are laughing at the difficulty of this. I'm going to go with
particularly
David
good
first.
if you also bring Arabic in. Hebrew,
Okay.
and English makes really great fun.
Okay. It doesn't work. That's the bottom line. You could hire someone to do live captioning, but it doesn't work natively.
I was going to ask that we've got two Israelis on here. We've got Eri and Rotem. What's the experience in Israel for live captioning? How does it work for you? I'll start with Eri and then
okay.
I'll start with Rotem and then Eri.
So when we need to do live captioning, we hire people to do live captioning. I had some live streams that everything was like pre-made, like all of the speeches was pre-made. So we did the live captioning like from slides with green and chroma key it.
Eri, what have you done on any of your streams?
So all of the streams that we've done that involve captioning are people typing it in live, engaged services. I did do an experiment running it through, I believe it's Web Captioner, I think, or maybe one of the other engines. It was surprisingly good, and I produced it into the stream. It worked. I mean, it wasn't a live production, but it did work, and I was surprised at the quality of the pickup of the AI.
So I know live captioner is actually using the Google Translate and the Google engine. And all it is it's linking in that engine, and it's just basically taking your audio feed and pushing it into that engine and then seeing what comes back out onto a screen.
Do you mean web captioner? Web captioner?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the one that you said you used?
I heard you say, yeah, he said web captioner. I heard you say live captioner.
Yeah, sorry, I meant web captioner. Sorry, it's my fault. Yeah. Yeah, so web captioner, it pulls it in and then it puts it out to a screen which you can color the background of the screen. So if you make the back of that screen green, you can obviously key it out to be on the bottom of a thing, or it's just black. So I've seen this, we use this a lot in the WordPress world to put it up at the side of when there's a conference on, so that you've got the image, you've got the words appearing. And it is quite funny because you've got a whole screen and you can look back and see what someone said 2 minutes ago if you wanted to, and some of it's accurate, some of it's not. It's getting better. Have we got any more questions there, Marty?
Yes, one from David Paskin. who's here on the panel. And I'm going to apologize in advance for my very rusty Hebrew. Restream versus StreamYard. What do people think about having online clergy lead services for communities when the rabbi or cantor or leader is away? Is it as good as bringing a sub into the sanctuary?
So these are actually two separate questions, just so you know.
Go ahead.
The first one is to battle it out versus StreamYard versus Restream and maybe others. And then the second is what you were just reading. I apologize.
All right, so let's take that first one, Restream versus StreamYard.
Leah on there?
Well, I was going to do the second one, and I need to jump off. So if I may,
so that you've taken the privilege of taking the second one. Yeah, far away.
So I think it depends. So we sort of experimented with this quite a bit. We just ran a whole summer of our Touch Shabbats, which were just reruns of previous Touch Shabbat. Was a great success. People actually really liked it, and they loved having still us, and they liked us. I think for main services, I think it works for services that are special things. So we did, thanks to John and his endless patience, we did a special themed nature service, a special themed animal service in the past year. And we actually reused them this year because people really loved them last time. And they were totally delighted, and us rabbis got a night off. So I think it kind of depends. So certain niche ones, definitely, and just doing the rerun totally works. We're at the moment thinking about doing stuff for the, if you noticed, in this December, we have really great Shabbos coincidence with 24th and 25th of December and 31st of December and 1st of January. So we decided we're going to not even try to get a sub. We're just going to do some combination of rerun and pre-recorded. I think people are going to be quite okay with it. We'll probably re-record the Torah reading to be the right one, but like a bit of video editing and saving a bit of money.
So other comments on this, or even from other people outside who, what do they think about when there's a swap on a, do you bring subs in or do you not bring subs in for when your main leaders are not there?
My gut, Leo, is that now that I can have a rabbi or a guest rabbi or cantor from anywhere in the world, and so much of my congregation is already used to seeing me in a box, that this actually could potentially be very, very powerful as a way of sharing wisdom and talent.
That's actually my view. Sorry, John.
No, I was just thinking. I also think congregations. It's quite nice to see another congregation stream. And if they mention that they're teaming up or whatever, I think it's really useful for us to see other people's output. To see, and we'll take ideas from it. Obviously, we'll all sort of share stuff.
Yeah.
So we've done that too, just sending our congregants to the live stream of someone else. So rather than actually trying to organize a sub for us specifically, to just partner up and join another synagogue. And that's been lovely and not much work for us.
Marty.
Yeah, I've seen houses of worship port in another churches or synagogues worship into their own stream. So you don't have to send your congregants to somewhere else. They can still watch it, where they're accustomed to watching it. I know that pre-COVID, when we had guest clergy come in during sabbaticals or during a break or something like that, it was always appreciated to hear a different perspective every once in a while, to hear somebody else speak, especially if that clergy was familiar, like we've heard of this person, they're from, another state or something, but we know who they are. And as David was saying, now you have the ability, they don't even have to travel. It's so easy to have somebody come in and do your service virtually. I think it's a great idea.
I'm just going to finish really quickly on this one, which is the Sukkah hop that I did a couple of weeks ago, where we went to a load of different countries, and it was amazing to see. The thing that I found the most interesting was, although we went to Australia and New Zealand and Canada and America and all those sort of places in Israel, it was when we went to Africa and when we were going to countries in India, and it's other places that you just go, we're just not used to seeing Jews in certain ways and in certain countries. And I just found that fascinating, and to be hearing them singing the same songs in the same way, and it just in a completely different environment. We've got one or two last questions before we wrap up. There's one, Marty, on the Q&A of Zoom. Have you seen that?
Let me take a look. Sure. Simon Marcus is looking for recommendations for setting up live streaming for funerals within an ohel, a prayer hut, so without wired internet. Ooh. I'm thinking of bonding cellular, such as Live View Solo, but working out the monthly fees for Live View Solo and where to link it, such as like Daycast. How much data is needed is proving to be complex.
So the first one, Rotem.
So hot from the oven. Just a minute. I try not to break something. It's like really hot from the oven. 2 cellular bonding, true fall off. So each channel have 2 SIMs. If something went wrong, it will fall over to the second one. 1 LAN, you can get a line or another cellular internet to the LAN. Pipe link, not that expensive. Their bonding service for 500 gigs of transfer is $20, and you get it for 180 days. So it's like a half a year for you to use it. You don't need to pay like monthly pay. And LiveView is an Israeli company, and it costs a third of the price.
I think there's a lot of these coming out, and this is quite an interesting area where we're going to find, as the world moves on and these problems are becoming bigger, we'll find solutions. The big one that's obviously going to be coming around the corner is Starlink. Starlink is going to change, not only because it's going to give access to people in different areas, but it's going to shake up the market because it's going to be an alternative option. And I think you're going to see that getting links into various different places better. The only thing I'd say is people are going to say, so Starlink is Elon Musk's satellite, low orbit satellite internet. It works on that you transmit up to a low orbit satellite, and then it comes back to a base station in your area. So they need to put the base stations in each place before Starlink can sort of connect to everywhere. It's an interesting concept.
If you get the chance, you can go on the web and find out where it is, because I saw it once. My friend phoned me up. It was a really clear night, and he said there's something really weird he was worried about an alien invasion. It's incredible. It's like lots of satellites. Have you ever seen satellites all in a row? There's like 30, 40, 50, however many, and they all in a straight line. It's really, really crazy.
It's a very strange thing. There's a website you can watch satellites come over your head, what's flying over your head at the time. Simon Marcus says Pipelink. I think he means Starlink. Is Pipelink was what you said, Rotem, or was it
Pipelink?
Pipelink. Okay, that's 500 gig at $20 a month. Yep. Marty, any more questions?
Let's see. I just wanted to point out, Simon was asking about figuring out how much bandwidth is needed. It's worth taking a look at. If you're using Zoom, just go and look at your statistics. In fact, you can look at your statistics panel right now, and you can see how much bandwidth is being sent out and how much bandwidth is being return how much you're using, and so that can help your figure your up and down bandwidth requirements. But keep in mind that that's just for Zoom. If you're doing anything else that has web connections, you'll need to add to that. So there's a good clue there.
Like the approximately will be 5 gig every hour.
Okay,
yeah, and
thank
it
you.
also depends on the resolution that the kind of account that you're using. So a 1080p stream will need more bandwidth than a 720p stream. For 1080p, it's a rough figure would be 10 megabytes per second per stream. So if you're sending out to one stream, like just to Zoom, 10 megabytes per second upstream would be a safe margin. And then if Zoom is sending out to Facebook or YouTube, then you don't need any additional bandwidth. But if you are sending simultaneously to Zoom and then also to another stream, then you've got to multiply your bandwidth. Okay, other questions? Okay. So, you want to add to that?
No, I'm just going to say I think we're out of questions, and I just want to say I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. All of the recordings are available on all the channels that you're watching, so you can see this on the Torah Tech channel, you can see this on Dreaming Up 5782, and you can see this on Synagogue Tech. Next week we will revert back to its Hybrid Ministries Tech Forum on the same day of a Thursday, but it's a slightly later time. Marty, what time is it next week?
So that would be 7 p.m. Eastern time, and add 5 hours for UK time. And
12 o'clock at night.
Right, and then take away 3 hours for West Coast time. So
that's it. So we're going to try and do it so that we have an earlier show once every other week, and I always say I'd like to say once a fortnight, but that doesn't work if I'm talking to an American audience. once every other week we're in the UK time zone, or once every other week we're in the American time zone. What happens when all of our clocks change in 2 weeks' time? I do not know. We don't know where we are. But thank you again. Questions, keep the questions coming on those forums. If you've got things that you want us to cover, we will cover them in the week. We try and cover our questions as much as possible, and we will store them up and take the questions and put them out here. Thank you again. And I'm going to...
Wait, can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
If you would like to share your temple, your synagogue's setup, what you've built, what you're still working on, we are not looking for perfection. We're looking for works in progress so that we can all learn from each other. Drop any of us, Rotem, Leo, or myself, a line. You could find us everywhere. We'd love to have you.
We definitely would, particularly if you're a live synagogue streaming in Israel, because that's... we know lots of doing them in Europe, lots of them in America. It's trying to find one or two that are doing it in Israel. Good night, and see you all soon.